Have you ever heard of a man who lived in a pot, barked at people, and challenged the norms of society? Yes, you heard it right. This man is Diogenes, the philosopher. Hailing from the city of Sinope in what is now modern-day Turkey, Diogenes was a figure of the 4th century BCE. This period was a time of great thinkers, yet among them, Diogenes stood out, not just for his thoughts, but for his peculiar lifestyle. He didn't just philosophize about life, he lived it in his own unique way. Diogenes was a character, an enigma, a man who embraced the life of a beggar, made a large ceramic jar his home, and didn't shy away from expressing his views, no matter how unconventional they were. His life wasn't just a series of eccentric acts, it was a statement, a critique of the societal norms of his time. Now let's dive deep into the life of this peculiar philosopher. Born around 412 BC in Sinope, a Greek colony, Diogenes was the son of a banker. A far cry from the life he would later lead, he was raised in a world of wealth and societal expectations. His father's profession gave him a unique perspective on the world, and it was here in the bustling streets of Sinope that Diogenes first began to question the values of society. However, life as he knew it came to a swift end. Under mysterious circumstances, Diogenes and his father were exiled from Sinope. Some say they were accused of defacing currency, a symbolic act of rebellion against the societal norms they both questioned. With nothing but the clothes on his back, Diogenes made the long journey to Athens, the epicenter of philosophy and thought in ancient Greece. It was here, amidst the marble columns and bustling markets, that he sought to redefine what it meant to live a good life. Thus began the unconventional life journey of Diogenes in Athens. Diogenes arrived in Athens with a radical idea: to challenge the societal norms and live a life of extreme simplicity. This audacious philosopher didn't just theorize, he took action, embodying the principles of cynicism, a philosophy he would become the face of. But what was this philosophy all about? Cynicism, in the time of Diogenes, was not about being skeptical or pessimistic as we might understand it today. It was a school of thought that advocated for a life in accordance with nature, a life stripped of all societal pretensions, norms, and artificial needs. Diogenes firmly believed that happiness could be achieved by meeting life's basic necessities and nothing more. An essential part of this philosophy was the principle of self-sufficiency, or autarkia. This principle promoted independence from material possessions and societal expectations. To Diogenes, wealth, reputation, and power were mere illusions that distracted people from true happiness. He demonstrated this belief by living in a ceramic jar in the marketplace, owning nothing but a cloak, a staff, and a bowl, until he saw a child drinking from his hands and realized he didn't even need the bowl. Diogenes also held a blatant disregard for social conventions. He questioned the established norms and often behaved in ways that were shocking to the people of Athens. He ate, slept, and even relieved himself in public. He argued that these actions were natural and therefore shouldn't be hidden or deemed shameful. His philosophy was not just about rejecting societal norms, but also about personal virtue. Diogenes believed in living a life of honesty, freedom, and self-discipline. He emphasized that virtue was not just about thinking or talking, but about action, living in accordance with one's beliefs. In an era of excess and artificiality, Diogenes stood as a stark contrast, challenging the norms and living out his philosophy in the most literal sense. His life was a testament to his teachings, a life lived in harmony with nature, free from societal constraints, and centered around personal virtue. Diogenes truly lived his philosophy, which was evident in his peculiar lifestyle. Diogenes was not just a philosopher, he was a spectacle, a man who lived in a large ceramic jar and walked the streets with a lantern in broad daylight. Now imagine this, the bustling marketplace of ancient Athens, teeming with traders and scholars, and there amidst the chaos stands Diogenes, a peculiar figure carrying a lantern under the sun. When asked about his odd behavior, he'd reply with a cheeky smile, "I am just looking for an honest man." His eccentricities were not limited to daylight lantern adventures. His interactions with prominent figures of his time were equally audacious. Take his encounter with Alexander the Great, for instance. The story goes that one day, while Diogenes was enjoying the warmth of the sun, Alexander, the conqueror of the world, stood before him. "Ask anything you want," declared Alexander, expecting a request for wealth or power. Diogenes, without missing a beat, replied, "Stand out of my sunlight." With this retort, he underscored his indifference to power and material possessions, an audacity that left even Alexander the Great speechless. Diogenes' life was a living testament to his philosophy. He rejected societal norms, choosing to live in a ceramic jar rather than a house. His only possessions were a cloak, a staff, and a bowl, until he saw a child drinking water with his hands and decided he could do without the bowl. He embraced poverty and hardship not as a burden but as a means to freedom. He believed that by shedding material possessions one could attain true happiness. His actions were not just for show, they were his way of challenging the status quo, of questioning society's definition of success and happiness. In an era where philosophers were revered for their wisdom and eloquence, Diogenes stood out with his unconventional ways and his witty retorts. But his life was more than just a spectacle. It was a radical statement, a challenge to the societal norms, and a testament to his belief that happiness lies not in material possessions, but in freedom and simplicity. Through his actions, Diogenes challenged the norms and questioned the societal definitions of happiness and success. Diogenes might have lived over 2,000 years ago, but his philosophy and his lifestyle continue to intrigue us to this day. This ancient philosopher, known for his eccentric and rebellious nature, has left a lasting legacy that continues to echo through the corridors of time. He was a man who dared to challenge societal norms, who dared to live according to his own rules, and who dared to seek happiness in simplicity. Diogenes was a man who lived in a pot, who discarded the luxuries of life, and who believed that the key to happiness lies not in material possessions, but in the freedom of the mind and soul. His influence on later philosophers is undeniable. He was a major figure in the Cynic philosophy, a school of thought that advocated for a life of virtue in accordance with nature. His teachings influenced the Stoics, who embraced his ideas about self-sufficiency and the importance of living in harmony with nature. Diogenes' philosophy continues to be relevant today in a world where materialism and consumerism are often seen as the keys to happiness. His radical way of living challenges our modern lifestyle, urging us to question our priorities and our definitions of success. His life was a testament to the power of individuality and the freedom of thought. He showed us that it is possible to live a life of contentment and happiness without conforming to societal expectations. His philosophy encourages us to strip away the unnecessary, to focus on what truly matters, and to find joy in the simple things in life. In an age where we are constantly bombarded with messages telling us that we need more to be happy, Diogenes' philosophy serves as a powerful reminder that happiness is not found in the accumulation of possessions, but in the freedom of the mind and the simplicity of life. Diogenes, the philosopher who lived in a pot, continues to inspire us to question our societal norms and to seek happiness in simplicity. Diogenes' life was indeed surprising and crazy, and his philosophy continues to challenge us. His audacious spirit and unorthodox ways remind us to question the status quo and to live authentically. Embracing simplicity, challenging societal norms, and valuing freedom above all, Diogenes' philosophy still resonates today. If you found Diogenes' life intriguing, subscribe to our channel for more fascinating stories from history. Remember, there is always more to learn from the past.